Hi there. This is Greg Hessel from Regeneration Resources. And I've been working with people in conflict, helping them be more effective for over 25 years. And maybe 15 years ago, it occurred to me that conflict tools alone are not enough because there's three really important aspects of the context that often don't get addressed or talked about, but that are crucial to the ability of people to be successful in difficult conversations. And those three are trust, style differences, and culture. So I want to talk about each of these for a moment today. First of all, there's trust, and trust is huge. You know, if somebody says to me, Greg, I want to talk to you about something, I kind of know from the tone that it's not going to be a great conversation. It's not going to be easy. If I don't trust them, it really doesn't matter what they say. Before they open their mouth, in my head, I'm going to be thinking, they don't care about my perspective. They're just out to get me, and yada, yada, yada. And really, why bother? When we think about trust, we often think of competency trust. We trust that people can do their jobs. Sometimes we think of credibility trust, which means they're going to follow through. They're going to do what they say they would. But in the context of conflict and difficult conversations, caring trust is really crucial. And caring trust is about, I matter. They have my back. It's about people caring enough to listen to your perspective, even if it's different than yours. It's about my opinion matters, and that people aren't going to give me a free pass, but they're going to listen to me. They're going to respect me. And if I feel like I don't matter, then it's going to be really hard to engage in a difficult conversation with somebody. And then the last kind of trust is vulnerability trust, which means people are honest and can own their own mistakes. If people can't say, I'm sorry, if people can't own their contribution, if people can't be self-reflective enough to look at things they might have done differently, then again, it's going to be hard to engage in that. So again, then it's going to be hard to engage in a conflict or difficult conversation with them because we won't trust them. So vulnerability trust and caring trust are really crucial in your ability to have difficult conversations. There's also style differences. Most of us operate by the golden rule. We want to treat other people the way we would want to be treated. But the challenge with that is that people often don't want to be treated the way we want to be treated. If we're direct, we assume that everybody wants directness, but some people don't. Some people find it a little bit off-putting. If we're extroverted, we assume that people will interrupt us, but introverts often don't interrupt. There's hundreds of ways in which we're different. So we have to treat other people not the way we want to be treated, but the way they want to be treated. And that takes a little bit of work, and it means not assuming that everybody wants to be treated the way we want to be treated. I use DISC when I work with groups on style differences. Sometimes I use the Gallup Strengths Finder, but there's the Myers-Briggs, and there's a lot of other tools that help people understand the context of their styles and how that might impact how they engage in difficult conversations. And then finally, there's culture. Culture is about the unwritten rules about how we do things here. Some of my work is with transportation workers in New England. And when I work with people who plow the roads in the different garages, they sometimes say that 15 years ago, when they had a conflict, they would go behind the shed and they would just duke it out. And then, HR started getting involved and started getting a little more sophisticated, and they can't do that anymore. Now the unwritten rule is we just don't talk about it. We just suck it up. I could train people till I'm blue in the face, but if the culture is we just suck it up, we never talk about it, it's going to be hard to be successful. Another part of the culture of transportation workers is there's a lot of banter. There's a lot of playful kidding and giving each other a hard time. And generally, it's all in good fun. But sometimes people cross a line or somebody's not having a good day and it goes too far. In most garages, the culture is we never talk about it. And so people stuff it until they explode. And then there's the kind of situation where you need an investigation. One example I like to give of managing culture is a leader I crossed paths with maybe 15 years ago in one of the garages. And the way he managed culture was he said, hey, anybody can say at any time, not today. And when the banter goes too far, if somebody says not today, then it has to stop. And we've all had not today kind of days, right? And so it was his way of just setting a norm, creating a new culture that says we can say stop. And when somebody says stop, it stops. So there's trust, there's style differences, there's culture. These are three aspects of the context that are really crucial to your ability to engage successfully. And I hope this helps you begin to think about them and how you might manage them and incorporate them into your conflict management toolbox. Thank you so much for listening. I'll have another video for you real soon.